Welcome to another edition of From Beyond Champaign. I'm Cody. Follow me on all the socials at Cody_CHGO. Before we get really, God, I'm already, it's late. It's a late Wednesday night. Illinois is going to play Iowa tomorrow. So let me try that again. Good. Before we get into everything, hit the like button on YouTube. Subscribe if you're new here. Man, what a start. At least we made it a minute. At least we got it. We got into a minute. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new here. Appreciate anyone who is returning for a second or third, or if you're a regular. Appreciate you for coming and joining me on this late Wednesday night. Okay. We got to talk about the Big Ten tournament. It started today, technically, but Illinois plays tomorrow, so I waited. I did put up a video on my YouTube and TikTok account, kind of doing a prediction for this tournament. I don't remember, or I haven't checked the score of the Rutgers and USC game, and I will look it up right now just because. I did have USC beating Rutgers, and they ended up winning in 2 overtimes. So I went 2-1 today on my Big Ten tournament picks. I thought Ohio State would beat Iowa. That did not happen. But I had Northwestern and I had USC. So we'll see how we do tomorrow. Video is up on the YouTube channel, on my TikTok account if you want to go watch it. So yeah, either way, this is more of a Illinois-related preview of this Big Ten tournament. A tournament that I personally do care about. I know there's a lot of discourse out there that, maybe we shouldn't care as much about it because it takes away rest for the NCAA tournament, blah, blah, blah. We can talk all about that if you want. I'm sure there are people who are watching that might think that way, and that's fine. But I personally do care about this tournament. I do have some fond memories, especially in the last 5 years of this tournament. We can go back as early as last season. I think that Big Ten tournament run from last season was incredible, and I think it is a good story, a good story to tell about the 2023-2024 Fighting Illini, and it adds to Terrence Shannon's legacy and why his name is in the rafters of the State Farm Center. Thankfully, in the correct form, obviously, since they fixed that. But I had to throw a little jab in there because I'm still annoyed by it. But I love the way that they have kind of spinned it into a positive, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. Not to try and go on some tangent already this early in the show, but the point is I'm a big fan of this tournament, and I'm a big fan of just conference tournaments in general. As a lot of you may know, I'm a big sports bettor. Been following all of the conference tournaments all across college basketball since the beginning of last week, really. And I was watching Cal and Stanford earlier tonight. I know that they're part of the ACC now, but obviously for the longest time they were part of the Pac-12. And listen, the time zone difference, it's hard to watch a lot of those teams, for me especially. And I had no idea that Mark Madsen was the head coach of Cal, and that Peja Stojakovic's son was on Cal's team as well. I'm like, man, if there is anything in this world that will make me feel old today, it is that. That was a great game, by the way, if you weren't able to catch it. It was on ESPN2 tonight. So anyway, the point is that I really do love conference tournament season, the 2 weeks that it is. And, if Illinois somehow wins this tournament, they'll win the tournament and we'll go right into Selection Sunday immediately after the game. And I find that to be very fun. And, the Big Ten being the last conference tournament to end normally, it's like you're saving the best for last, right? So, yeah, there's a lot of great things about the Big Ten tournament that that I've had a lot of good memories from. So we're gonna talk about that. I haven't had a show since last Friday when Illinois beat Purdue. I kind of want to go back to that a little bit. And then obviously the Big Ten awards came out 2 days ago. The news of Merez Johnson being back came out. It's just been a very busy week for me with the full-time gig with the Cubs going to Japan today, and just so much news coming out of camp that I just hadn't really had the time to come and sit down and talk about a lot of that. So, yeah, let's talk about that. We're going to talk about all that stuff, the Big Ten tournament, and we'll read as many comments as I can, and hopefully we can do it all in an hour. Honestly, if I sit here for an hour, that means we had a lot of good conversations. So, again, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here, and let's go. Let's start with let's go in chronological order. All right. So, why hasn't Purdue tweeted the final score for Illinois and Purdue from last Friday? Like, I don't know. I just wanted to throw this out there because first off, why are there teams that do that? When was the last time Illinois did that? They tweeted the final score when they lost by 43 to Duke at Madison Square Garden on national television. I'm still trying to figure out why they haven't tweeted the final score. I get that we're like kind of rivals. I think Illini fans want to be rivals with Purdue more than Purdue fans will claim. Purdue fans claim that their rival is Indiana, and that's it, and they're just above us. They treat us like little brother. It's kind of like how we treat Northwestern fans. Like I look at Northwestern fans. I'll use another baseball analogy with this. I look at Northwestern fans like White Sox or Brewers fans. Like they're a rival, but like I don't really care that much. I mean, I guess the rivalry between the Cubs and the Brewers has intensified over the last 7 years because the Brewers have been good. But for the large portion of my life, I could care less about Milwaukee. But I know Brewers fans like hate the Cubs, and I know Northwestern fans are probably like the few that are out there don't really like Illinois, and I just don't. Like, it would be different for me if Northwestern was ever like good, like on a consistent basis. Like they'll beat you every now and then, but it's like you have 3 NCAA tournament appearances in your entire program's history. Like, how do I take you seriously? Yeah, it's kind of like that's how I feel Purdue views Illinois, like kind of like a little brother, and being on that side of the the spectrum, I can understand why a lot of Northwestern fans, or if I go to baseball and use Brewers or White Sox fans, I can understand why those fans might not like us, I guess, because like them kind of Purdue fans kind of acting like that towards Illini fans, it's like it's really annoying, largely just because Illinois has been good. Illinois has been good the last 6 years, 20 plus wins the last 6 years. And yes, my friends Carter Elliott and Greg Waddell, it is impressive that Illinois has won 20 games in each of the last 6 seasons. I don't care how much rage baiting you want to do on your YouTube channel, but yes, it is impressive because that's called sustained success. Has there been some failures in March? Yes, but it is sustained success. And to be honest with you, most Illini fans have been craving sustained success for a really long time. So are we going to boast about it? You're absolutely right, we will. You're absolutely right, we will. And I'm not going to have any shame about it either. Okay? So yeah, I just find it very odd. Like I feel like there should be a mutual respect between Purdue and Illinois, because over the last 5-6 years, both those teams have kind of owned this conference in terms of being near the top every single year. All right. I don't know why they didn't tweet the final score. I feel like it's a respect thing. Like I feel like they feel embarrassed that they lost to Illinois. Like, why? What's a worse loss? Them losing to Penn State in January or losing to Illinois at the end or at the beginning of March? It's weird behavior. It's weird behavior that they didn't tweet the final score. So that's all I have to say about that. And a real program would have tweeted the final score. Illinois, they manned up. They lost by 43 at Duke, and they still tweeted the final score. So, yeah, like, figure it out, social team. Figure it out. Illinois will find a reason to spin anything if they're going to make a graphic that says they've won 20-plus games in each of the last 6 seasons, okay? So, y'all can spin something your way too, all right? And I'm sure you have whenever Braden Smith was named Big Ten Player of the Year this week. Speaking of, let's shift to that. Let's shift to the Big Ten awards, okay? Also, let me know your thoughts on this whole big Purdue not tweeting the final score thing, because I would love to read some funny comments. Big Ten awards. I wrote down just like some notes from it. In general, let me preface this. In general, I just don't really care about the awards. Like, I think you can make arguments for a lot of dudes. All right? Do I think Illinois individual players deserve more awards? You finished, 7th in the Big Ten this year, and somehow you did reach the projection that you did finish with the projection that Kim Pom put you at, which was 12-8 and 20-11 or something like that, whatever, that season. So, I mean, in many ways, it wasn't even a down season. It was exactly what a computer said that you would do. So to bring it around here, I don't personally care too much about who wins a lot of these awards. I will say that it's an absolute travesty that Illinois doesn't have a player that's won Big Ten Player of the Year in this era of basketball, when you've had Ayo Dosunmu, Kofi Cockburn, and Terrence Shannon Jr. on your team. But I digress. They are all All-Americans, and that's good enough for me at the end of the day. Okay. Let's start with Tom Izzo winning Coach of the Year, because I don't feel like anyone's really talking about this particular award. And it's largely just because he deserves it, right? He deserves it. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Brad Underwood deserves to win Coach of the Year. But I do want to talk about the optics of how coaches win this award, okay? Now, Tom Izzo is a proven coach. He has been doing it over and over. How many times have they made the NCAA tournament year after year during his time at Michigan State? The streak, I don't even know what the number is at now, but, he is a lock to make the NCAA tournament every year. I think he won Coach of the Year because they won the Big Ten, and they were the one team in this conference that I think stuck out among so many other competitive teams. You can make the argument that Wisconsin is up there with him. However, them losing to Penn State the other day is not a good look on them, on top of, blowing that huge halftime lead against Oregon at home is not a good look for Greg Gard either here down the stretch. So I'm not making an argument for Greg Gard. Greg Gard should not have as many Coach of the Years that he does, but the point I'm getting here is the optics of how the coaches win this award. And I do think in this particular year, Tom Izzo earned it. I do think that Michigan State, I don't remember what their preseason Kim Pom prediction was, but did I think that they were going to win the Big Ten? I don't think anyone thought they were going to win the Big Ten. So I guess and on one hand, he did earn it because they outperformed what people believed would happen. He did it with a team that's, not necessarily full of NBA players. I mean, Jace Richardson could be an NBA player one day, right? So I think what I'm getting at here is that this is like the first year, I feel like, in a while where someone won this award and actually deserved it. 2 years ago, Chris Collins got it. because Northwestern made an NCAA tournament and they have 3 total NCAA tournaments on their program's history. So it's like, oh, they did something that they never do, so he deserves so much credit, right? Um, you know, I've made a very big case that it's an absolute travesty that Brad Underwood hasn't won a Coach of the Year over his time here at Illinois. And the reason that I feel like he hasn't at this point is because the expectations are so high that if he doesn't win the Big Ten, that he's not even part of the consideration. So I am saying that Tom Izzo deserved it this year. I think they outperformed what people thought they would be. I think everyone knew they'd be an NCAA tournament team, but I did not think they would win the Big Ten, and I did not think they would win the Big Ten in the way that they did. It didn't really come down to them and someone else. Like, they won it outright. So I believe that's what they did, at least. And yeah, I think he won it in a way that I feel like people haven't been winning it in the last handful of years. They're always giving it to a coach that, they do it with a team that no one expects. What, last year it was Fred Hoiberg, correct? Fred Hoiberg last year, because Nebraska was better than what people expected, right? All I'm saying, this is more of a ploy or a plea for down the road. You want me to make a case? All right, Brad Underwood, revamp the entire roster, have one guy come back. Let's say 2 guys came back and then one of them redshirted from an Elite 8 team and still put together a 20-win season and played an incredibly tough schedule. There's my case. It's not the best case, and it's not a case that I think deserves to win. But you put together an entire new roster and managed to I thought they'd finish top 5 in the Big Ten. You finished just outside the Big Ten, the top 5. Right? I don't know. I'm just saying, if we're going to give awards, we're going to give Coach of the Year awards to teams for success that was unexpected. Despite what happened this year, or despite what was coming into the season with not extremely high expectations, but still high expectations, it's almost like you can find a way to make an argument for Brad in some small way. Again, I'm not making a major argument, but I am asking for them to be consistent with this award. And this is the first time in a while where I feel like the guy who led the best team in the conference to the championship won the award, because the last 2 years it's just been because a coach took a team that no one thought would do jack shit and made the NCAA tournament. So kudos to Tom Izzo. He is one of the greats. As much as it annoys me when he cries, as much as he annoys me in general when they play Illinois, I think he's much deserving. All right. I spent way too much time on that. Maybe it's just because everyone knows I'm just a Brad stan, even though it's been a very up and down season with him this year. Let's go to the one award that an Illini did win, and that was Will Riley. Will Riley won Sixth Man of the Year, Big Ten Sixth Man of the Year, first time since Andre Curbelo. What was it, 2021, 2022 when that happened? Also, I think I mentioned this on a former show, Andre Curbelo, the fall, man. It needs to be studied. Hopefully this award isn't a curse. Of course, I don't think Will Riley's going to be here next year, which is crazy because 3 months ago I thought he was going to be here based off how he was playing. And that kind of brings me to a point that I'll make. That, again, I don't really care about these awards. They're nice. It's fun for me to throw that in fans' faces. Am I going to throw Will Riley winning Sixth Man of the Year into opposing fans' faces? No, not really. I'm just going to say that this guy's going to be a great NBA player one day, and it's great that he went to Illinois, and I can say that, But there was a stretch in Big Ten play where Will Riley he was giving you nothing. And it was mostly in January. He played so well. I want to say his first really good game in Big Ten play was against Michigan State, actually. And he scored 19 off the bench at Michigan State. And I think he followed that up against Maryland with a no-show, but the entire team no-showed. They had some injuries that day. Yeah. In 17 minutes against Maryland, he scored 0 points after that Michigan State game. Against Northwestern, the following game, he had 4 points. So this is towards the end of January, right? Like he didn't do much in the first month of Big Ten play off the bench for Illinois. He had 16 against Nebraska at the end of January, in the final game of January. And he was up and down in non-conference play, but I think the point I'm getting at here is that I was a little surprised he won the award. Yeah, he's been awesome. He's been awesome in March so far, and in all of February, he was awesome. Is he worthy of winning the 6th Man of the Year award? I mean, I guess I'd have to go through other teams and look at, the team's benches and who's the biggest contributor. Is this just a sign of a low of not many, guys off the bench doing much in Big Ten play this year? I don't know. Again, I don't care enough about the award to go and look it up. But I will just honestly say I was surprised that he won the award. He wasn't very good off the bench in January. And he's actually been starting the last 3 or 4 games now. So cool. It's a nice win for Illinois' program, right? Let's see. Kasparchak Ashonis was named to the all-freshman team, which I think is deserving. I think he's kind of faded down the stretch here, and his play is definitely going to be important. His play is definitely important going into tomorrow and through the rest of the weekend. And then obviously next week when the NCAA tournament starts. But he definitely showed throughout the Big Ten season that, he was one of the best freshmen in all of college basketball, not even just the Big Ten. So, yeah, he had some duds in there, but all freshmen do. I think it was definitely deserving to be on the all freshman team. He was all Big Ten third team, which is fine. There's just too much inconsistency from him, and I think his not great play down the stretch here is probably what led to him getting the third team instead of a second team. So yeah, and Derek Queen was named freshman of the year from Maryland, and all I can think about is that game against Maryland back in January, the one I just mentioned, and they didn't have Tommy. And Derek Queen went to work on the Illinois defense in the paint. Him and Julian Reese both. So, yeah, he's a stud. I think it was deserving. All right. Now, I think this was definitely a big discourse topic on Illini Twitter. But Kylan Boswell was snubbed from the all defensive team. Brad Underwood, I'm going to play the audio because I just thought it was it's so Brad. And this is one of the reasons why I love Brad. All right. Brad is a guy who will go to war for his guys. And most coaches in college basketball do. And that's why I love college basketball and why I love March Madness and the Big Ten tournament, all these things. The coaches, they're just, if you're a fan of that team, the coaches make you want to run through a wall for them. And what Brad said about Kylan Boswell not being named to the Big Ten All Defensive Team was pretty funny. So I'm gonna play it here.
It's really frustrating. Everybody values different things defensively. We're one of the worst teams in the country, forcing turnovers. We've always been that. So they like guards who get steals. They like bigs who block shots. We like guys who can guard multiple positions and just make somebody's life miserable. So everybody's value of what a good defender is different. I wouldn't trade him for anybody in the country. Guarding the basketball, I don't care what size. And you can ask Cooper Flagg to Mark Sears, both All-Americans, and he's done yeoman's work night in and night out for us. So, in my book, he's the best defender in college basketball. And yeah, it's frustrating.
Okay. In my opinion, he's the best defender in college basketball. He brought up how Cooper Flagg didn't do, like, despite losing by 43, Cooper Flagg didn't do anything really. Well, he didn't have the greatest game in the world against Illinois. Kylan Boswell was on him in that game. Mark Sears put up a dud against Illinois back in November, right? All-Americans. He has a good point. And so my thing here is, of all of the awards that someone was deserving of, I have thought all season that Kylan Boswell was going to be on the all-defensive team. That's how good defensively he's been. Did the people voting just watch the Illinois-Purdue game? I mean, he had to guard the Big Ten Player of the Year, Braden Smith. I don't know, man. I think I tend to agree with people who are upset about it, in it being a snub. He to me, he should have been on the all-defensive team. And it was pretty funny that 2 Oregon players were on there whenever Illinois themselves scored like 110 against them back in early January. So it is what it is. Hopefully it fuels him. It should. And I love that Kylan's been on Twitter calling out the haters. Calling out a former guy. He used to work under. He used to work at PHNX under the All City umbrella, which is also CHGO is also under that umbrella. And I felt weird because, like, I've never met Mike, but he definitely. Oh, did he delete the tweet? I'm like on his account right now and I don't see it. I do not see it. It looks like he might have deleted the tweet. But yeah, you all know who I'm talking about, the big Arizona, the Arizona podcaster. I've never met him in person, but he used to work under the same network that I work at, except the Arizona station. So anyway, I like it. I like when players chirp back on social media because so many people are talking about them all the time. And you know how much people have to hold back? You know how much people have to hold back from trolls and shit like that? Yeah, he's been playing great. And I know I've complained a lot about the shooting this year, but his defense has always been there. I think that's one reason why I've never really faded to he shouldn't play or anything like that. The defense is there. For a guard, he's a great rebounder. And yeah, I hope this fuels him going into this Big Ten tournament tomorrow against Iowa. Pray for Peyton Sanford and anyone else who's going to be shooting the ball for Iowa, because not being named to this, I think will definitely fuel him. So yeah, I think Kylan Boswell certainly deserved this. And I think the reason this is from the Big Ten the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year was Ace Baldwin from Penn State. And he's known as being one of the best defenders in the country. And their reasoning, I'll just read what the Big Ten wrote. When they named him, they said, this was the second consecutive season that he was named it, becoming the first repeat winner since Purdue's Kenneth Lowe in 2003 and 2004, one of the 15 players named to the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year watch list in February. Baldwin ranks 10th in the country with 2.37 steals per game, while his 71 total steals are good for 15th. This guy won Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. And I'm not saying he wasn't deserving, because he is known as being a great defensive player. But Penn State sucks. They are bad. If it's not Kylan Boswell winning that award, it should have been someone else. It's kind of like what Brad said. Like they look at steals and they look at block shots, and I don't know. When you talk about on-ball defenders, Kylan Boswell has been one of the best on-ball defenders. We have watched him be one of the best on-ball defenders all season. I don't know. Just feel like he was deserving of at least being on the all defensive team. All right. Before we get into the Big Ten tournament, let's read some comments. Caitlin, she was here before I went live. By the way, I'm very sorry. I was about 10 minutes, or I was actually more about 15 minutes late to the live. I scheduled it for 10:30, started at 10:45. So anyway, Caitlin said, I hope they can win the whole thing, not even for the prize, but because I'm afraid what the team might look like if they lose some of the momentum they have built. It's just been such an up and down season. I'd rather they keep climbing. And I can agree with that. Jason, what's up in the chat? Jordan, I don't know if you've been here before, but welcome. Absolutely. Some of the most memorable games for the last few years have been in the Big Ten tournament. Absolutely. One of my favorite moments in the Big Ten tournament these last handful of years is probably Terrence Shannon hitting that three to secure the win against Wisconsin last year. And it's largely just because Terrence Shannon Jr.'s story. That I was live on this YouTube channel during that game, watching it. And yeah, that knowing what we as fans had to go through with this team last year and then winning this and then them winning the Big Ten tournament, it's actually in a way like even more heartfelt, like a great story than when they won it during the Io Kofi, Andre Corbello, Adam Miller team, post-COVID. Last year's team, I was just telling my girlfriend this before I came in here to do this, that last year's team I feel like last year's team was always going to have a special place in my heart. And it's not just because they got to an Elite Eight for the first time since 2004, 2005, but just everything we as fans had to go through with Terrence Shannon and what he had to go through mainly. But I mean, there was so much slander just about Illini fans for supporting the team just because of the allegations. And I got so much slander. And it was exhausting. So to see that team win the Big Ten tournament last year it will always have a special place in my heart. Jason, I still have a great feeling KJ has not had his best game. His pregame presser made me realize how good of a teammate he is. Yeah, no, in the video I shared about Brad, it also had KJ in there, and he was talking about how Kylan deserved to be on that all defensive team. He does come off very selfless to me, and that's a sign of a good teammate for sure. I wish we knew more about KJ. I personally feel like they haven't promoted him enough outside of just talking about him on the broadcast. Jordan, Sleepers Media is basically the college basketball version of The View. Well, let me be frank. I do like those guys. I follow them both on Twitter, and I do listen to their Illinois recaps. But sometimes I do feel like they're just trying to rage bait us, and it's actually quite annoying whenever they don't really have to do that to get us to watch, in my opinion. But sometimes, like the video they put up today talking about the graphic Illinois put up about them winning 20-plus games over the last 6 seasons and like making it out to be this whole thing, and it's like, this isn't worth a 10-minute video that you're about this, but Illini fans are going to watch. So yeah, so I just shook my head because it just felt like rage baiting to me. But it is what it is. I work in the game of getting views too, so sometimes we got to do what we got to do. Okay. Big Ten tournament. Do I think Illinois can win the Big Ten tournament? I do think Illinois can win the Big Ten tournament. Do I think they will win the Big Ten tournament? No, I don't. I do not think they will win the Big Ten tournament. I think they can play for the Big Ten tournament championship, and I'm not trying to jump ahead because every game is important. But without Freeman for Iowa tomorrow, and you get Merez Johnson back, plus have Tommy, there's absolutely no reason Illinois should not win tomorrow against Iowa. I know they're a rival. I know Fran McCaffrey is on a retirement tour? I don't know what he's on. Whatever. You should pound Iowa tomorrow. You should take them and throw them into I want to say the lake, but we're not in Chicago. They're in Indianapolis, but they should handle Iowa pretty easily tomorrow. So I'm not trying to jump ahead. I'm just saying that Illinois is the better team, and they should cover the 10. What they opened at 10 as 10-point favorites. So, and they've been playing well. They've won their last 3, and that includes beating Iowa at home. And it was never really even a contest against Iowa. So, plus Iowa played today, which means they will be on no rest, while Illinois has had plenty of rest since last Friday. So they will have almost a week of rest going into this game. There is no excuse to lose to Iowa. And honestly, if they lose to Iowa tomorrow, I'm going to feel really, really, really bad going into the NCAA tournament, no matter what seed they get. Okay. Anyway, where do I think the biggest challenge for Illinois in this tournament is? I think we can all agree that it's probably against Maryland. If they beat Iowa, they will play Maryland on Friday. We've talked about it before. Maryland is like Brad Underwood's kryptonite. What is he, like 3-8 against Maryland in the regular season? Something like that. They lost by 20 plus points to them earlier this year in January. Now, in that game, I believe Tommy Avicic was not able to play. And it was either, I want to say it was right around when he got mono. The ankle thing hadn't happened yet. So this is right around when he got mono. So they were undersized, and Maryland went to work with Derek Queen and Julian Reese. And then they eventually started hitting outside shots. So with Merez Johnson and Tommy Avicic being able to play in that potential game if Illinois wins tomorrow, I think it's at least going to be closer. Now, is Maryland, by the metrics, a lot better than Illinois? Yes, absolutely. And they have been a lot better team than I thought they would be. They always seem to be that. I should just start respecting Maryland more, I guess. A few years ago, they weren't very good, and maybe I just haven't caught on to like what they're doing now. But Maryland is number 13 in KenPom as of today, as of this recording. They're 8th in defensive efficiency and 34th in offensive efficiency. Illinois is 31st in defensive efficiency and 15th in offense. Illinois 17th in tempo, Maryland 53. So Illinois plays faster than them. I would say that if Illinois is going to beat Iowa tomorrow and then play Maryland, the only way they're going to be able to beat Maryland is if Derek Queen and Julian Reese are somehow contained. And I think with Merez Johnson and Tommy Avicic on the court together, or one coming off the bench, it will at least be closer. And they also have to get the same type of production they're getting out of Trey White and Kylan Boswell. And hopefully Ben Humrickhouse carries over that confidence that he got from the Purdue game and hits some shots. I mean, if you look at the box score against Maryland, I think the big story in that game in January was more about the defense. I mean, they allowed 90 points. They allowed 90 points at home, 91 points to Maryland at home. And Julian Reese had 27, Queen had 25. Their bench had 2 points. They went 4 deep off the bench and only one. They had 2 total points. Their entire starting five, 4 of the 5 starting 5 had double-digit points. But they were 3 of 12 from 3. They hit a few threes late, and that's what pushed it to what this score was. It was probably more like a 10-point game for most of this one. But because Illinois could not make shots, they shot 6 of 28 from 3, and they were undersized. They struggled. They struggled in this game. Will Riley, a nothing burger, 0 points, like I said earlier when we were talking about him winning Sixth Man of the Year. Kerry Booth, if there's one player on this team that's been a massive disappointment, and I don't even know if I should really blame him because he hasn't exactly got the opportunity, but Kerry Booth has been basically nothing for Illinois all season. In stepping in for Avicic as a front court player this night, he went 1 of 5 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. 3 points, 1 rebound, just nothing. All right. Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn had a 15-point game, which is good. That was you'd love to see that. At that point, he was playing really well. He had a great January in Big Ten play. Jake Davis, 1 of 5 from the field, 3 points. You can imagine that one shot was a 3, yes. But when you look at the starters, Humrickhouse, 26 minutes, 0 points, right? Merez Johnson, 19 minutes, 5 points, 2 rebounds, 4 fouls. The positives from this game were that, we got to wake up the next day. That was the positive from this game. There was nothing good to take away from it. Even KJ, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, but on 5 of 14 shooting, he went 0 of 4 from 3. It was, and if you want me to be serious, DGL with the 15 points off the bench was probably the one positive from this game. It was a bad loss at home. I think it will be tough, but I think it will be a better effort from Illinois this time. And I think that they can win that game. I'm not trying to get too far away, but if they are to win the Big Ten tournament, I think their biggest challenge will be Maryland because of matchups. Now, if they somehow beat Maryland, they're going to play either Michigan or Purdue, I believe. I'm going to bring up the bracket. Bring up the bracket. Here we go. All right. USC won tonight, so they will play Purdue tomorrow. I think Purdue will bounce back after the loss to Illinois. They're better than USC, and they just played a two overtime game against Rutgers. I think Purdue will win tomorrow. So Purdue will play Michigan most likely on Friday, and if they beat Michigan, which I think they will because Michigan has been bad these last handful of weeks, and I think Purdue is just better with Braden Smith in TKR rather than Michigan with Vlad Golden and a Trey Donaldson that, I don't know. It's hard to just trust him. The guard play for Michigan kind of sucks. This could lead to a rematch between Illinois and Purdue on Saturday if Illinois is able to get past Maryland. Again, jumping ahead for the sake of conversation, I'm not trying to jump ahead past the Iowa game. But if this is the scenario that plays out, you could get Purdue in a rematch. And no matter what happens, I just hope Purdue tweets the final score. I'll just be honest with you. If they don't beat Purdue, it won't be the end of the world to me. I would like to beat Purdue twice in a season, considering we went like 5 years without beating them. But if you go listen to the last pod, I did not feel like let me rephrase this. I felt like Illinois got some breaks down the stretch with missed shots from Braden Smith. The one thing I will say, Purdue does not have the kind of depth that Illinois has. And that's what I said in my video when I was making predictions. I did predict in that video that Illinois would beat Purdue. to go on to the Big Ten Tournament Championship game. It will be a tough task, but if they beat Maryland, I feel like they'll have a ton of confidence going into another game against Purdue on a neutral court. There will be plenty of Illini fans in Indy, as there will be plenty of Purdue fans in Indy as well. But I think we learned a lot from this game against Purdue. And while Matt Painter is a better X's and O's coach, I do think Brad Underwood will take some things from that game and utilize them maybe a little bit more like he did at the end of the game, maybe utilize them a little bit early if we get into this scenario, right? And I think that when it comes down to who can score more, I just think that Illinois can keep up with them. And remember, Illinois won that game despite the fact that TKR had nearly a 30-point game. And Braden Smith was one rebound away from a triple-double. So, Fletcher Lawyer, 14 points. So Purdue played pretty well. They absolutely blew the game at the end because they couldn't hit shots. They absolutely gave it away. But to me, it's largely because their bench was giving them nothing. So they were gassed. And now Illinois will have Morez Johnson back too. All I'm saying is going into that game, if we get there, I feel like Illinois is playing with house money. I think that more people will think Purdue will get revenge in that game because they'll remember what happened in the last 3 minutes of that game. Again, I will not lose sleep if they lose to Purdue in this semifinal game, if that scenario plays out. I will not lose sleep because that means you're done on Saturday and that's more rest for you going into the NCAA tournament. That's the one pro. You won. I'm realistically asking Illinois to win at least one game in this tournament for their tournament resume. More, I'll take more because I want to win this tournament, but my bare minimum ask is to just win one game. So if you beat Iowa tomorrow and you lose to Maryland on Friday, fine. I just hope it's a better showing than it was back in January, right? But if we get into this scenario where you play Purdue, I do feel like Purdue will be the favorite in the game. And I feel like Illinois will be playing with house money. And I'll take that. I love when no one believes in Illinois. I've said it before. When Tyler Hansborough said on Field of 68 that he loved Illinois this year, I got pissed. And what happened when he said that in the mid to early January? That's when Illinois started to play bad. So I really do believe if we get to that point in this Big Ten tournament, Purdue will be the favorite. And I just feel like Illinois will be playing with house money. We'll see. Now, to play out the rest of this bracket, for the sake of conversation, I do believe, and if you watch the video I posted on my YouTube or my TikTok, I have Michigan State going in the top half of the bracket. I have them going to the championship game. So if Illinois does beat Purdue, I do believe that they will play Michigan State a third time. And let me tell you, it will absolutely trigger my PTSD. Because if there is any hate watching that I will be doing during the NCAA tournament this year, it will be on Michigan State. And normally I am a root for the Big Ten in the NCAA tournament guy. But Michigan State fans have been insufferable this year, acting like they have been here, done that for the last 5-6 years, when this is the best season they have had in quite a while. Sure, they make the tournament, but they have not even been competing in this conference for championships until this year. They act like they've been there for a long time, and they really haven't if you want to go in within the last 5 to 6 years. So they have been insufferable, and I have the PTSD from KJ playing 9 minutes at Michigan State because Tom Izzo paid the refs. I have the Terrence Shannon putting the banner upside down, leading to bad karma, losing at home and not scoring in the last 9 minutes of the game on my chest. So yes, if they do play Michigan State in this last game of the Big Ten tournament championship at 3:30 p.m. on CBS going into Selection Sunday, boy, oh boy, will I need a drink. I will need a drink for that game. I'm not a Michigan State hater. It's more about just this year their fans have been insufferable. And I'll give credit where credit is due. They've been great this year. I still don't believe in them in the NCAA tournament, and I still don't think they get to a second weekend. We'll see if I'm wrong on that or not. But they could easily win this tournament. They have an easier path. They're either going to play Oregon or Indiana. And then if they I think they're going to play Indiana. I think Oregon is going to lose tomorrow at noon, okay, to Indiana. I think that Michigan State will beat Oregon. And then on Saturday, they will play either UCLA or most likely Wisconsin. I think UCLA is going to beat Wisconsin and play Michigan State. Maybe that will be a tough game for them, both defensive-minded teams. But I think Michigan State will pull it out. And so that, in my prediction mind, again, we'll see if it plays out this way. We get an Illinois and a Michigan State Big Ten tournament championship game. Sets up for great theater. I will say that much. It does set up for great theater, my friends. And I can appreciate that. I can indeed appreciate that. But, yeah. If you asked me to who I would like to see win if it's not Illinois, I don't really know. I guess I just don't really care. I think it would be cool to see Maryland win, just because if they beat Illinois, and then them go on to win, it's like, okay, well, you lost to the team that beat you. And I do think Maryland is really good. I just mentioned they're 13th in KenPom for a reason. So I think they're kind of a sneaky pick that you could take to win the Big Ten tournament. All right. So that's kind of how that's the preview for the Big Ten tournament. I think they can win it. I also don't think they will. I think they can get to the championship game. I think there is a path. I think the one game that I think they don't match up well against is Maryland. But hard to beat a team twice, they say. People say. And Illinois is playing way better than they were back in January, and they're healthy going into this game if they get there. Again, tomorrow they play Iowa, and I probably sound like I'm just looking over it. It's more of me just going through the bracket of different scenarios. So I'm not trying to do that. Tomorrow's game is just as important as any of them. Like I said, to me, Illinois needs to win at least one game in this tournament to get to maybe, well, I still think they'd be a 6 seed if they beat Iowa. But if they beat Maryland, maybe they can put themselves in the 5 seed territory. I think that's the best they'll get. Now, if they win the tournament, they could get themselves a 4 seed. But we'll see. Another thing that makes it tough, if they do get all the way to Sunday, is that they will have played 4 games in 4 days. And Michigan State will have played, 3 games? Is that what it is? 3 games? 3 games in 3 days? 1, 2, 3. So an extra day of rest. I don't know how much it matters, but I don't know, y'all. I don't know. What do y'all think? Let me know what y'all think. Who is going to win this tournament? I always love this tournament. Like I said, at this top of the show. I love this time of year. March is what I live for. I love college basketball, and I love the chaos it creates. And just some of the games we watched today has kind of describe what that chaos is. So, anything else? We talked about the Big Ten awards. We talked about Purdue not tweeting the final score because they're weird. We talked about the Big Ten tournament. I guess the other thing, one last thing before we get out of here, I did see the video of Coleman Hawkins. Kansas State lost tonight, and they're not going to make the NCAA tournament. It's been a massively disappointing season for the Wildcats. And the guy, I'd never seen him be so emotional after a game. So I'm going to share the video of him talking after the game because it was like, wow, I'd never seen this from him before. This is from Gary Parrish from CBS. Actually, this is from Landon Reinhardt. He just tweeted it. Come on.
These guys haven't experienced some of the things I've experienced. And, I really wanted to come in and impact the program. Fuck, man. I'm sorry for crying, but this shit hurts. But I really wanted to come in and impact the program, and some of the stuff, the outcome, obviously wasn't what we wanted. But if someone asks me if I regret coming here, I tell them, I don't regret being my team, the coaching staff, the people I met. And my heart just breaks for them because, like I said, they just haven't experienced some of the things I experienced in my career. And same thing for the fans. Because I feel like I let a lot of people down. And I feel like I did a poor job of letting people talk about me and affect my play. And it was evident all year. And I wish I could just go back and block out everything, not for myself, but for the team, so we could have had a more successful year. But, this is a learning lesson for me. And I wish the best for the future of this program.
Whew. Let me tell you, man. Coleman Hawkins he's definitely one of those guys that you loved him if he was on your team and you hated him if he wasn't. And he got a lot. He definitely got a lot of heat on social media a lot when he was at Illinois. And I think a lot of it was warranted because he would just ask for it. He would do things to ask for it, but he always backed it up with his play. He was a great Illini. Not worthy of going up in the rafters or anything like that, but he was a great Illini. Obviously, it was a disappointing year at Kansas State. I think they were among the top 10 in like NIL spent, on their roster. And I think Coleman Hawkins, he made more money than most people in college hoops this year. So I don't know. I know the haters will absolutely take this and run with it and have a field day. They'll sit in their mom's basement and watch it over and over and be super happy about it. But I always appreciate when players are real like this because some of them are just so bland and so boring. And I always appreciate that Coleman has always been kind of just real. So I'm wishing him nothing but the best. I'm assuming he's going to try and go back into the draft this year. I don't know what his plans are, but Illini legend, man. So I'm wishing him nothing but the best. All right. It is just under an hour. I got 30 seconds before an hour is up. So, I don't have anything else. But Illinois and Iowa tomorrow. I will do post game tomorrow. They play at 5:30, I believe. Illinois and Iowa play at 5:30, I believe. Let me check just to make sure. Yeah, they play at 5:30. Illinois and Iowa, 5:30 on Big Ten Network, I believe. Yes, on the Big Ten Network. So they win, they'll play Maryland on Friday. but we got to get there first. So, yeah, I will be here on this YouTube channel, sometime after the game. If it's not right after the game, it will be sometime after the game. I promise. So yeah, hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Hit the like button for me on your way out. We had a decent crowd in here, somewhere between 15 to 20 people for most of it, which is exciting. It's been a up and down crowd here on this channel this season. It just hasn't been as consistent as it was last year, and I apologize for that. But I'm going to try and be as consistent here during March as we get into postseason play and moving forward. So I appreciate y'all's support, and let's win tomorrow, man. Let's win by 1,000 tomorrow. They should win by 1,000 tomorrow. Illinois is bigger than Iowa, and they have better players. Plain and simple. They should win tomorrow. Win tomorrow, and let's just for a chance to maybe beat Maryland. That's what I'm asking for. All right. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Appreciate y'all's support, and I will see you after Illinois beats Iowa. As always, guys, ILL.